Eddie Stobart is one of the most famous haulage companies in Britain. For almost half a century, they've been delivering the goods that keep the UK running.
I don't think half the people realise where their food comes from.
Their 3,000 drivers do the distance to the moon and back every day, making deliveries every 4 seconds.
If the tankers were going to stop delivering, the country would shut down, wouldn't it?
But there's more to Stobart's than trucking. They've got over 5,000 people running ports, airports and trains.
It's big business. Everybody's chasing the next minute along the road.
For the drivers on the front line, it can be trucking hell.
It's a bit busy in here, mate, so yeah, again, I'm held up.
God.
But it's in the blood.
Once you've done it for so many years, you can't give it up.
This week, a new tanker driver takes on a lethal load.
You don't play around with this kind of stuff. This is definitely not a toy. This is potentially a bomb.
There's pressure at the port.
Drive! Can you go back up to Bay 47, mate?
It's like fighting a losing battle sometimes. It goes really out of control.
And veteran driver Mo's worst nightmare comes true.
Cheesed off, off, and ready for me bed.
Eddie Stobart trucks are some of the most recognisable on Britain's roads.
They're an institution, aren't they? They've been around since I can remember.
Each cab is named after a girl. It started in the 70s when the bosses decided to call their trucks after pop stars. The tradition led to a spotters fan club that's now got 15,000 members.
Stobarts are the creme de creme, and they always will be my #1 spot.
Stobart's has 40 depots dotted around the UK. Bang slap in the middle is their busiest hub, Crick in the Midlands. $250 trucks a day go in and out, shifting millions of pounds worth of business, and is where some of their hardest working drivers are based.
Action, take 1, scene 2.
Mo Goulding's been a trucker for 34 years and notched up enough miles to drive around the world 120 times.
The guys in the office call me Top Gun, the best of the best. How you doing, John? Description of me by other drivers, a mickey taker. I've got no time for boring people. It's like a Muppet show, isn't it? Huh?
He's an earache. He's a bit of a nightmare. I hope you don't mind me saying that. Sorry, man.
54-year-old Mo is a tramper, which means he spends Monday to Friday driving, eating and sleeping in his favourite girl.
The truck I have at the moment is Carly Kerris. She's special to me because it's my lady for the week. It's my home for the week. And time for bed.
And that means he's only at home with his family for a day and a half a week.
Doesn't sound a lot to people out there, but believe me, you've only got to ask the wife. She'll tell you, a day and a half is ample.
It's 11 a.m. and Mo's been on the road for 8 hours. After spending last night in Donington, he's travelled 200 miles to Wales to pick up his load. And now he's heading into London, a city he hates.
London can be a nightmare on a Monday morning. The traffic, ignorant drivers, people haven't got a minute. It's a rat race. It's a nightmare.
But Mo's in such good spirits today, he's happy to wave at his public.
The young kids and the lady in the passenger seat here waving.
It's tradition that if a civilian driver waves at a Stobart's trucker, he'll wave back.
It's just courtesy. Obviously, you know what I mean, if it's a nice friendly wave, it's a nice friendly wave back. Obviously, we do get it from other lorry drivers where it's not so much as a friendly wave, it's a Winston Churchill gesture. You know what I mean, sometimes it does feel good to give them a Churchill sign back.
Today, Mo's carrying loft insulation destined for 2 giant DIY stores in East London, which means a trip round the top of the M25.
That is all we bloody need.
The M25's turned into a car park. Mo needs to think fast.
We're going to do a plan B very quickly here. We're going to crack in on the A40 and join the dreaded North Circular at Hanger Lane.
But will Mo's plan B work? We'll find out later on. Tramping doesn't suit everyone. 33-year-old Matt Eakins is one of Stobart's day drivers.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Not too bad, mate, not too bad.
He's also based at Crick and starts at 7 a.m.
Are going to Feltham, then Crawley, tip there, round to Slough and back into A-Shed.
Top of the pops.
Right.
Nice one. Cheers for that, Angelo.
As a day tripper, Matt gets a different truck every day. But before he sets off, he gives Isabel a good once-over. Or, as ex-Army Matt calls it, the first parade.
Yeah, before we go on the road, I've got to do a first parade. Just checking engine oil, coolant, tyres, lights. Looking for damage around the vehicle as well, you know. This is an absolute brand spanker today, so we're laughing.
Kick of the tyre shows the pressure's spot on. Matt's truck is a Volvo FH and would set you back 80,000 quid. She's got a 13-litre, 460 horsepower engine, enabling her to pull a 44-tonne loaded trailer on her back. And hooking up is just a 5-minute job. Matt's got to reverse until the cab's jaws lock onto the trailer's kingpin. A safety pin is hooked in. Then 5 cables called Susies are connected. 3 work the trailer's brakes and 2 the electrics. The legs of the trailer get wound up and he's good to go.
Job done.
Matt's got a 450-mile round trip today. He's also heading down to London. First, it's a drop-off at Heathrow, then round to Redhill for a pickup, and then back home to Crick.
Not many people like London, you know, but I enjoy it. With traffic and everything else, low bridges, a bit more demanding, you know, a few more hazards than just generally driving on the motorway. So it's all good, it's all good. What's the point of being miserable? Get on with it.
Life's sweet for Matt. And it's not so bad for Mo. He's heading to East London for 2 drop-offs. He's risked taking the North Circular to avoid the blocked M25.
We now have absolute chock-a-block traffic, all coming round the North Circular the other side that's trying to miss the blockage on the 25.
It seems his plan B might have worked. But everyone else has had the same idea.
And that's us now into the bottleneck.
Mo's got 2 more deliveries and only 4 hours before the end of his shift, but he's going nowhere.
It's a bloody problem I could have done without.
Coming up, a tanker driver takes on a deadly cargo.
If it did split open, it would definitely explode. It would be like something what you see on an Arnold Schwarzenegger film.
And Mo's got trouble on his hands.
The bad day has just turned into a disaster.
The Eddie Stobart fleet notches up 500,000 miles a day. And the trucks are thirsty beasts, doing just 8 miles to the gallon, which means the bosses end up with a £65 million a year fuel bill. To cut down costs, they've taken on their own tankers. But driving a truck full of highly explosive liquids is one of the most dangerous jobs on Britain's roads.
In the whole of Eddie Stobart's, there's only 2 actual fuel tankers. That's what I do. I just go around from terminal to terminal collecting diesel and delivering it into our depots just to keep the trucks running.
44-year-old Mark Ashurst has been driving tankers for 20 years.
I definitely think that tanker drivers have to have their head screwed on a bit more. You've got to be something a bit special.
The biggest danger Mark has to look out for is other drivers on the road.
They're totally oblivious to what you're carrying and how much space you need to stop. I mean, if it did split open and it caught fire, with the fumes, it would definitely explode. You know, it would be like something what you see on an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Look at this car, do you see what I mean? That's what winds me up. Terrible.
Mark's tanker is called Alexandria 21. It's produced by truck manufacturer MAN and is worth £150,000, but it earns its keep. Stobart saves £4 each time a truck fills up. That adds up to £500,000 a year. Each tanker carries enough fuel to fill up 80 Stobart trucks. Its 6 hoses spew out its flammable payload at a rate of 45 gallons a minute. The tankers are based at the Stobart's Appleton depot near Manchester.
I can obviously take your tyres, no splits.
Stobart relies heavily on Mark to keep the fleet on the road, but tomorrow he's off on his holidays. For the last 6 months, he's been training new driver Martin to take over.
Check your hoses look okay. No splits in them. You can't just jump in a tanker and drive off. It's not like an ordinary wagon. It's a total different ball game. Fire extinguisher. Nobody's pinched it. Check this. In date.
Yeah.
Mark's tanker's loaded with 8,000 gallons of fuel, so the day starts with thorough safety checks of both the tanker and the truck.
Let's get in and check your lights.
Get in and check the light.
And your engine oil. What can go wrong in this job? You could roll it over, it could leak, it could catch fire. So hopefully you're always vigilant enough to spot the dangers before they arise.
It's time for 42-year-old Martin to put the theory to the test, handling a liquid load on the road.
Can't just speed into corners and roundabouts and brake at the last minute, because if you start turning and braking, the liquid will just run up the side of the tank and it could possibly turn you over.
You've got to really have your wits about you, basically. This is potentially a bomb.
The hazardous weather conditions are really putting Martin to the test, and so is Mark.
Sorry?
Fire extinguisher.
Have you checked it?
Have you?
No, I've not
You're
checked
driving.
it. No, I've not checked it.
Why not?
The tanker boys are at the Stobart depot in Carlisle, which gets through 36,000 gallons of diesel a week.
Diesel's got a lower flash point. It doesn't catch fire just off fumes like petrol would, but it's still dangerous because if it does catch fire, it will burn.
Mark keeps a watchful eye as Martin goes through these strict safety procedures.
You can't just sit down and put your feet up and wait for it to finish. You've got to be walking around checking the hose, because a split can appear in a hose anytime. It's not just there before you start.
Today marks the end of 6 months training for Martin.
You've got all your pipes you've got to connect up, make sure there's no leakages, everything. Sorry.
And Mark's already in the holiday mood.
You're not like a fisherman. My trainer, that.
Back at the Appleton depot, there's time for just a few last words of encouragement.
I have confidence in you. Rest's down to you.
It's all down to me. I am the man tomorrow. I am the man.
You are the man. Martin flying solo tomorrow. He's trying to put a brave face in, but I think deep down inside he's probably a bit petrified.
Nerves, yeah, I wouldn't be natural, would I, if I said I wouldn't have any nerves?
We'll catch up with Martin later when he faces his ultimate challenge.
Job done.
Appleton is also home to Stobart HQ. Emmy is PA to the managing directors, and she's doing her rounds. The boss, William Stobart, is about to arrive, and she knows only too well how he likes things done.
Right, so whenever William's in the office, the first thing I would do, after checking his office is straight, is we come and check the boardroom, because if he's got customers coming in, this table the chairs have to be in line, have to be straight. Glasses in a V, always to a point. Cups with the handles always facing to the left.
And it's not just the boardroom. Emmy has to make regular sweeps of the office to make sure everything's up to William's exacting standards.
So first thing I would do is make sure all the blinds are the same. So you can see these blinds are up here, they need to be down. Check that they're all straight, all down, all matching the same. So from outside it looks like we've got the same uniform all along. And then I'd go around to make sure everyone's not got the coats on the backs of chairs. Graham, would you move your coat off the back of your chair, please? Thanks. Being tidy is just one of the little details that he's maybe got a little bit of an obsession with, that things have to be right. But you just get used to it and you know that that's what you have to do.
And Emmy's finished just in time, because William has arrived.
My attention to detail.
Well, because it's yours from the top. But
everybody gets totally with me being here. I just like things to be right, and I think, well, why can't they be right? You know, why can't that wagon be clean? Why has it got dirty wheels?
He likes the drivers to look their best too. And it's something veteran tramper Mo Goulding is only too well aware of.
If you're untidy, most times they'll tell you, change your shirt, driver, or change your trousers.
Having well-turned-out drivers is something Stobarts are famous for. When they start, Stobart drivers are issued with 10 shirts, 4 pairs of trousers, boots, belt, a coat and a fleece.
Wearing the uniform, it does give you a sense of pride. It gives you a sense of belonging. It does make you feel professional.
It's part of the Stobart tradition. When William's brother Edward introduced the uniform over 20 years ago, it was an altogether more formal affair.
We decided to go full uniform with shirts and ties, and for a wagon driver to wear a shirt and tie, this was unheard of. The industry thought we'd gone mad. Some of the wagon drivers thought we'd gone mad.
I do miss the shirt and tie. I think it gives us an identity. We'd still get members of the public who'll gesture to you, where's your tie? Lost it 6-7 years ago.
Matt Eakins is making deliveries to London. His first drop is to airline caterers in Heathrow, which is handy, because it turns out Matt's a closet plane spotter.
I've never ever been this close to the runway of Heathrow. I just want to pull over for half an hour and check them out, but we can't. We've got to keep the wheels rolling, you know what I mean?
His run's going well, and he's managed to avoid the London chaos.
We made it on time. We've got half hour window either side, so yeah, not too bad at all. All right, mate, whereabouts do you want me?
just line up here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, mate. That'll do it, won't it?
With his fruit juice cartons for the planes delivered on schedule, Matt's got time to indulge in his secret interest before he's off on his next delivery.
I'll see you again next time, son.
Best, mate. Yeah, love
Be
working
good.
with you.
Next time, put the kettle on. Thing is now, it ain't just about being stuck in traffic. If I get stuck in too much traffic, as time gets on, by law, I've got to have a 45-minute break.
All truck drivers have to take a rest break every 4.5 hours. If they get caught cheating the system, they could be looking at a £300 fine or even jail. And their bosses keep a close eye on them back at base.
Yeah, they've got to have breaks, and we've got to build that into our plans as well. You can't have tired drivers out on the road, and that's why the rules are there.
Mo Goulding's also in London. His legal driving hours are fast running out. He spent the last 2 hours battling through the traffic to reach his first drop-off in Barking, East London. But another lorry's already in the yard, which means he'll have to wait. And that means more headaches for Mo.
So this is a problem we have in London when we're delivering into the London area. You've got double yellow lines here. There's nowhere for us, catered for us to park. We could have a traffic warden up and down here. You're going to either get a ticket or you move off.
Mo could be smacked with a £60 fine. And when you're earning around £8 an hour, that hurts.
But that's London for you.
And he's still got another delivery to make. But all Mo can do is wait as his time ticks away. But Matt's day couldn't be going better. He's making his final pickup.
Hello! Made to pick up a delivery for Mother Care at Crick.
His load of baby clothes are destined for Crick, his home depot, and so is Matt. Which is a novelty, because he used to be a hardcore tramper, living in his cab 5 nights a week.
Yeah, I've only been doing day work now, about a month and a half. Got sick and tired of living my life in a tin can, like, you know? Nah, that's not me. I've done it for 10 years, that's enough. I had hair when I first started.
Tramper Mo's hair is fading fast. He's finally dropped his load after being held in a queue in Barking. He's now got a 27-mile journey to his next drop in Rayleigh. But no driver's allowed to work beyond 15 hours, so he's never going to make it.
There's legal limits that we all have to adhere to. At the end of the day, they know what time they need to stop. And if they don't, you know, Stobarts are culpable for any repercussions that may arise from that.
It's time for him to call his bosses and let them know the bad news.
How you doing? How you doing, Gaz? Right, I've only just left Barking. I thought I'd ring you first, but let you know what's happening. I'm not going to get time to tip the delivery because it's going to mean running over me working time.
The Top Guns had his wings clipped and committed the Stobart driver's cardinal sin of not making his delivery. His load will now be passed on to another driver.
The bad day has just turned into a disaster. Cheesed off, fed up, and ready for me bed.
And bed for Mo tonight is the glamorous Stobart depot near Thurrock.
Right, we got a minute. Let's get down the compound.
The depot's packed, and Mo's 15-hour day has reached its limit.
Are you coming out? 5 minutes is no good to me. I'm on my time.
Coming up, rookie tanker driver Martin feels the pressure when he goes it alone.
Come off the wrong one. Well, that's made a knob of myself, hasn't it?
And there's danger at the port.
If a container touches any part of anything, it just flattens it like a pancake, and you know, you'll kill someone straight away. You know, like.
The Eddie Stobart fleet does around 180 million miles a year. Fuel makes up a third of the company's running costs. The Stobart bosses have taken on 2 tankers to save money. For rookie tanker drivers like Martin Pearce, it's a lethal load.
People don't realise what we're carrying, obviously. I mean, we're carrying a bomb with us virtually. I mean, one mistake and it could cost a lot of lives.
It's 6 a.m. and today Martin's going on his first ever solo run.
Morning, Paul. You all right, mate? Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Loaded your tanker last night.
Yeah.
For Carlisle.
Yeah.
So that's your first job. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Feeling fine?
Feeling fine.
For the past 6 months, #1 tanker driver Mark has been showing newbie Martin the ropes. But Mark's got to have a holiday sometime, so he's handed the keys to Alexandria 21 over to Martin.
I would literally pull Martin's head off if he trashed it.
And with this in mind, Martin's giving the tanker a thorough check.
And I'm checking the tyres, making sure the nuts are where they should be. Everything seems in place, no hoses have come off the pumps.
Checks complete. Now Martin faces the ultimate challenge.
That's it now, everything's done, all my training's done, all my checks, everything's done now, so let's get on with it and let's go for it.
From his base at Appleton HQ near Manchester, Martin starts his 100-mile journey north to Stobart's main depot in Carlisle, and he's carrying a full load.
Obviously we've got some weight on us. We're virtually on the maximum weight we can carry.
After 2.5 hours on the road, Martin arrives safely at the Carlisle depot.
This is where the training kicks in now. This is the part now that can cause a lot of damage.
It would only take a minor spillage or the slightest spark to cause a major disaster, so Martin has to be extra vigilant.
So obviously now I'll do my visual checks, make sure there's no leakages in the pipe. I'll have a walk around the other side, make sure that's fine.
But it seems Martin's presence at the depot is causing a bit of a stir.
Well, it looks like we've got a few admirers here today. Obviously they've seen me coming up the motorway and they decided to come in and take some pictures themselves of me. Mind you, who wouldn't, a handsome young man like me?
Yes, he's run into a pack of Eddie spotters. But it's not Martin they're interested in. It's Alexandria 21 that's turning heads.
Today's actually the first day we've been out and been able to see it actually on the road. So that's why it's kind of special today.
There are only 2 fuel tankers in the whole of the Stobart fleet. So for the spotters, catching sight of Alexandria 21 is a very rare sighting.
Just actually learned this morning it was named after the little number 21 that you see on it. It was actually named after the Tesco director's niece. On the 21st birthday. I think that's definitely our Eddie spot of the day, that one. Definitely.
After emptying his load,
job's a good one.
Martin's off to fill up and deliver to another depot. And he's feeling confident.
Fine, no problems up to now yet. Everything seems to be going according to plan.
And that's when things fall apart.
Oh, I gotta come off the wrong junction. Come off the wrong one. Well, that's made a knob of myself, hasn't it?
Martin needs to get back on track. We'll find out later if he makes it on time. Fuel tankers are just one of many ideas the Stobart bosses have introduced. They've transformed the whole company over the last 6 years. William Stobart and his business partner Andrew Tinkler bought out William's brother Edward in 2004. Since then, profits have rocketed.
Back in 2004, we were turning over something like 100 million. Today, we're now turning $500 million over.
You've got to be the best out there and always looking, what can I do better?
William's come a long way. He left school, barely able to read and write.
I joined the company from school. I've washed wagons, then became a planner. Then 21 became a wagon driver, so I've been on the road for 4 years. And that education, to me, was better than going to college or university.
As a youngster, Andrew Tinkler was a Stobart truck washer too.
I went on not just to washing the trucks, I went on to painting the trucks and also being a mechanic.
With their insider knowledge, the two friends went about putting ambitious plans into action. Their latest purchase is an inland port. Based at Widnes near Liverpool, it's ideally situated for importing international goods into the northwest. 7 million containers a year are shipped to the UK. 300,000 are destined for the Stobart port. But there's just one thing missing, and that's boats.
There's no boats at the port, and we're rail connected to all of the major deep sea ports. Every container that comes in by sea can be lifted directly to a train and into us without ever hitting the UK road infrastructure.
Freight trains arrive from seaports like Felixstowe. The port can handle up to 14 a day. To get the containers onto trucks as quickly as possible, Stobarts have 4 gantry cranes. They're as high as 6-storey buildings and can shift around 800 containers a day, weighing up to 35 tonnes each. Stobart's trucker Ian has arrived to pick up a container of toothbrushes that's already travelled 6,000 miles from Thailand and is about to arrive by rail into Widnes.
From arriving at the port to when we leave the port, it takes about half hour, 40 minutes all round on a good day.
Ian's container is on a freight train that's just coming in from Felixstowe. But before it can be unloaded, it needs to be guided into the port. And that's down to the rail shunter. Andy Stephen has been happily shunting for 10 years.
Just waiting for the train to come round the corner. There he is.
It's his job to get trains into the yard as quickly as possible, but safety's always his first priority.
Just checking the wagons over, listen out for any noise, make sure no handbrakes are being left on or anything. There's no grinding noises off the bearings to make sure it's safe to propel back.
Once all the checks are made, the points are switched. The 1,400-tonne freight train can be reversed into Stobart's port.
I can see that the signals are clear now. I'll just get ahead of the train, and once I'm in a safe position, I can start calling him back down into Stobart.
Andy's got to be the driver's eyes and ears as he guides the half-mile-long train into position.
Just slow it down a touch for us, mate, slow it down. 6 liners to go, mate, 6 to go. Just doing a propelling move with the train. Last 4 now, mate, last 4. And I'll stop him at the end. Okay, Andy, this will be your last one now, mate.
With the train in position under the crane, all that's left for Andy to do is uncouple the engine.
Okay, Andy, if you'd like to draw it forward, just go past the set of points by the hut there and give a shout as soon as the 92's finished. Yeah, I've got to go really quick now, give this to the crane drivers because there's trucks waiting, plus I've got to get onto the next train to get that one ready to go out to bring the next one down. No rest for the wicked, yeah.
Now it's over to the crane pilot, another Andy. And there's just 25 minutes to strip the train.
It's like fighting a losing battle sometimes because it's just it goes really out of control sometimes.
Andy's been piloting cranes for 6 years. It's a change from his last job as a chef in the Merchant Navy.
When I did get the job here and I seen the size of the cranes, even though I'd worked on big ships, I was a bit nervous because I never thought in a million years I'd be driving a big crane like this. I feel like David Blaine sat up here sometimes when he was hovering above the Thames in a glass box.
But there's no time to enjoy the view. Andy's getting the hurry up to unload Ian's container from Thailand.
Coming off the train, mate, heading 1780.
Yeah, will do. Thanks, Chris, lad. Cheers, buddy. So I've got to lift this box off now. It's pretty urgent.
The port is split into sections. On one side of the crane, the train sits to get unloaded. And on the opposite side, the trucks wait for their container. Andy has to make sure the right one ends up on the right truck.
Everything you need to know for the job is all on this computer here.
Every container, or box, as Andy calls them, has got its own number. Andy's computer uses a satellite tracking system to tell him where it is and where it needs to go.
On the left-hand side of the screen here, it'll give it a prefix of the box. This is the box that's actually in that position, and that's the registration of the vehicle that it's actually going onto.
It's a very clever piece of kit, but when it comes to piloting these monsters, what you need is pure skill. The cranes have a giant claw called a spreader to pick up and drop the containers.
So you have to remember that you're lifting a box up as big as the house, which weighs like 30 or 40 tonne, you know. If a container touches any part of anything, it just flattens it like a pancake, and then, you know, you'll kill someone straight away, you know, like so.
Ian's truck trailer is specially designed for containers with 4 twist locks in each corner to hold their 26-ton payload in place. Andy centres the container onto the trailer by eye. He has to be exactly on the mark. There's no room for error.
Just try to not get too close to the cab at the end of the container. We got the thumbs up off the driver, so that's another happy customer. And away he goes.
1 container of Thai toothbrushes on board. Ian can finally hit the road. Coming up,
Wash your boys.
Mo gives his girl a weekend treat.
So I'll check when you're done. Make sure you ain't left any.
And sparks fly when a driver crosses Martin's path.
What's happening here, fellas? Jump in the queue. I've got an urgent delivery here.
It's the end of another tough week for Stobart tramper Mo Goulding. After starting the week with a difficult trip to London, he's covered another 3,000 miles. Driving, eating and sleeping in his cab 5 days a week has taken its toll on his beloved Carly Kerris, and Mo is one house-proud trucker.
I just like it, nice, clean environment to work in. That's how I like my environment, clean and tidy, and I like it kept that way. So keep your feet off the dashboard.
To get Carly Kerris cleaned up, he's bringing her into the truck wash at the Crick depot and treating her to the equivalent of a full shampoo and set.
Wash your boys.
Oh, Mo.
Top wash on my vehicle.
Like always, mate, like always.
You treat my girl right.
Yes.
She's had a hard week, look.
Make her pretty like always, mate.
Hey, but at the end of the week, that's what I like about my truck. When it goes through the wash, get it washed down and park her up the weekend. Ready for me Monday morning. Crack on, I'll help you, I'll show you how it's done.
Take the brush, scrubby, go on.
It's always been a thing here with Eddie Stobart's ever since the day I've started, that cleanliness with the truck. I agree with it, it fits in with my way of thinking.
The truck wash is one of 13 William Stobart has installed up and down the country. It's one of his big passions.
The appearance of the trucks, to me, is very important. It's what everybody sees, it's what your customer sees, it's what all the general public sees, that vehicle, isn't it? And it's having that immaculate.
He's so keen to keep the fleet clean, he's prepared to literally pour money down the drain.
It costs us about 500,000 a year to wash the fleet.
168 trucks undergo a Stobart wash a day. The trucker can choose between a 23-minute gantry wash or a 7-minute quickie. The luxury option costs the company £8 and uses around 180 gallons per truck. That's around 4 household baths. The 4-man team begin by giving each truck a hand wash. Plenty of lather and no detail untouched. The chemical power gantry wash then begins with an inbuilt wax to dispel the dirt.
Make sure you're inside me wheels, please.
The truck wash boys know some drivers are more fussy than others. Drivers like Mo.
I think the lads of the wash here, I think it's when they see me come in, because I'm a bit finicky. I like all my little nooks and crannies done on the lorry. Pick them up. That's it, on the door, on the door. You do me mats for me, please. Hey, coffee. The coffee. Yeah, I'm OCD. ACD, DC. Not bad. That'll do. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, Mo. I bet they can't wait.
Nice one. See ya.
It's tanker driver Martin's first day on the job. It didn't start too well, but after a wrong turn, he's back on track until an emergency call. He now has to go back to his base at Appleton, where they're running out of fuel.
It's typical of the first day, isn't it, really? I'm on my own the first day and the pressure's on now, so it's down to me now to produce the goods, to keep the fleet moving.
Martin arrives at the depot. He needs to offload his diesel fast.
It seems to be a bit of a queue, but everybody seems to be going in for diesel.
It'll take Martin 45 minutes to transfer his 8,000 gallons. But one trucker doesn't want to wait.
Obviously, he thinks he's got this privilege that he can jump the queue. I'm a bit niffed about that, actually, after getting here on time. That some idiot decides to queue jump on me. What's happening here, fellas? Jumping the queue?
No, waiting for you to...
No, it's waiting for the queue, man.
I didn't jump the queue.
Queue jump the queue, man. I've got an urgent delivery here. Waiting to be done, yeah. What do we do? What do we do? Man's on a mission. Come on.
And as Martin waits, the queue of trucks starts to build up.
There you go.
The truck moves off, and Martin can start filling up the empty tanks.
So here we go. Obviously, you can hear it bleeping now because that's how low the diesel is in the tanks. That's the bleeping noise.
The depot uses 55,000 gallons of diesel a week, and it's almost run dry.
I've got to work really quick now because obviously we're on dangerous low levels now, and as you can see, the wagons are all still coming in now, so time's in an essence.
As Martin's filling up, the trucks are stacking up.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wagons in, all waiting to fuel up.
And the drivers aren't happy.
Oh, it's so annoying, real frustrating. When you've pulled one of these around with you all day, last thing you want to do is just queue up again. All lads just want to get home, especially the trampers.
That's just drivers in general. They're not happy unless they're moaning. I'm sorry, drivers, you're going to have to wait.
Martin's filled up the fuel tanks in the nick of time. He only wishes his trainer Mark was here to see him save the day.
I hope Mark would be proud of me. I've treated it as if it was my own. So I just hope when I get my tanker, he does the same, which I think he will, Mark. He's a good fella. Are you listening, Mark? Adios.
Next time on Eddie Stobart Trucks and Trailers. A chilled driver takes on a delicious load.
It's just going to be a big creamy mess in the back.
I am shaking.
And one driver is in shock when he gets his new truck.
I'm well proud of that. I am absolutely well proud. Nice.